Good afternoon, everyone. So, in the last lecture, we have discussed about the advantages of cloud computing. In today's class, I'll tell you about disadvantage of cloud computing, and also I'll tell you about infrastructure as a service economics. In infrastructure as a service economics, you can compare the in-house server with the cloud server. Suppose somebody is giving you two different plan A and plan B, and ask you to choose one plan out of these two plans, then how you are going to decide whether the plan associated with in-house server is better or the plan associated with cloud server is better, right? So obviously, the disadvantage of cloud computing is it requires constant internet connection. Like if you see Gmail or if you see Facebook or WhatsApp, if you are not connected with internet, you are not going to get the services. Okay. So what we can say? We can say cloud computing is impossible if you are not connected to the internet. Okay, so internet is the basic need, and that to be constant internet connection is required. Like we have taken an example of Google Drive. Google Drive you can install in your workplace. Google Drive you can install in your your home, or Google Drive you have in your mobile phone. But if the constant internet connection is not there, then the files which you have modified in one computer system, it is not going to be updated in other system. So that is the main drawbacks you are going to face if you have limited internet connections. And since you use the internet to connect both your applications and document, if you don't have internet connection, you cannot access anything, even you own a document, right? Suppose I have installed in my computer system with Google Drive, desktop Google Drive, and I am modifying some document. If I am using desktop Google Drive, I can modify the document. But due to poor internet connectivity, it is not going to sync to each and every place where the replica is available, means duplicate data is available. You will not get a copy, updated copy, right? So if you are using directly the Google Drive without desktop Google Drive, then there also you will face an issue because you cannot edit the document if there is no internet connection is there, because directly you are using Google Drive. So desktop Google Drive case, the problem is that you can edit in your computer system, but it is not going to reflect it in each and every place where you want that copy need to be available. That is the first problem. Second problem is if you have your online Google Drive, you open Google Drive by giving your username and password. There you are editing some document directly. Okay, in that case, if there is a poor internet connectivity, then you are not going to get the services. Okay, so a dead internet connection means there is no work. In areas where internet connections are few or inherently unavailable, this could be deal breaker. Okay, if the service is not available, you are not going to get the service, right? You cannot consider that as a downtime. Your service is active, but due to you have poor internet connectivity or no internet connectivity, you are not able to access it. That is the main drawbacks what you are going to face when you go for a service without internet connections. That's why the primary requirement is the internet connection. But you know, many village area and many remote areas, we are not getting internet service. So in that place, if you try to migrate to cloud, so the bad news is that it is not possible, right? So this is considered as one of the drawbacks. And also, cloud computing does not work with the low speed internet connections. Okay, low speed is very, very low, right? You can say some bytes, sometimes we download some file, and we are getting the we are looking into the download speed is below some bytes or bits. Okay, so it is difficult for you to download the whole file. That is due to low speed internet connections. So similarly to a low speed internet connection, such that we found in the dial-up service, makes cloud computing painful at best and often impossible. Okay, if there is slow connections, then getting the service becomes also slower, and you will say that the traditional systems are better than the cloud computing system. Similarly, web-based applications require a lot of bandwidth to download as do large document. As you are using internet, so you require bandwidth need to be as large as possible. Like we say 1 Mbps connection, 10 Mbps connection, 1 Gbps connection. The more you bandwidth you have, you will get better access, right? So bandwidth is the primary requirement in case of cloud computing. If there is uh, less bandwidth or poor bandwidth, or you can say poor internet connection, in that case, you are not going to connect to the service properly, and you will not get full-fledged access of that particular service. Similarly, number of features also might be limited. It is related to customization. Like you visited a particular restaurant, you want a specific type of food which is not available in the menu of that particular restaurant. Then what you will do? You have to tell that this is the process to prepare the type of food which you want to consume. But if that restaurant is a you can say heavy restaurant, so many people are visiting that particular restaurant, the restaurant will say that customization or preparing this item is not possible. So your features are limited. So most of the cloud service provider, you will see the problem is with respect to the customization. All are not supporting customization. Like Google case, you have Google Map, you cannot modify the way Google Map is working. You cannot modify how Google Photos is working. You cannot modify how Gmail services are working. So customization is not given by each and every provider. But some cloud service provider, they provide customization. Again, if you need a short-term service, why a cloud service provider is going to modify the service? Right? If you are going for a long term, then they can think of your customization. But if you are going for a very, very short term, right? I want to access the resources for only 7 days. So they least bother about it. So customization is also one of the drawbacks. So features situation is bound to change. But today, many web-based applications simply are not as full featured as their desktop-based application. Customization is not possible. The type of features you are getting in your desktop application, in your own PC, laptop or desktop, that type of features you may not get in the cloud. Like as you are using PC, you have a you can think that this PC is loaded with some media player. This PC is loaded with Microsoft Office. The basic requirement which we require to work with a particular system. We always expect that these things are loaded into the computer system. But cloud-based application, you need to specify what kind of application you require. So you can say desktop applications are full featured, but cloud applications are not full featured, right? Because you have not mentioned any specific requirement. That's why that feature is not given to you. Actually, in fact, you can see as all the features are not available, we call that as a lightweight system. If fully feature is available, then that is same as our desktop application and it is not lightly loaded. Okay. For example, you can see here, you can do a lot more with Microsoft PowerPoint than Google presentation, web-based offering. You can prepare your presentation using Google application. You can prepare a document using Google applications. But the type of features that are available, that is limited. In fact, if you have PowerPoint software, you will see we are getting more features, right? But in cloud-based application, it is limited. But if you need, then your CSP may provide that particular services. It is not limited to only the type of application that is Microsoft PowerPoint or Microsoft Word. There are many applications are there where desktop applications are incompetent and cloud applications are competent enough to do it. And another disadvantage is can be slow. Sometimes your internet speed is good, but while you are accessing to the cloud, it is slow. So even with a fast internet connection, your web-based application is slower than accessing similar software program on your desktop PC. Sometimes suppose I have loaded some software in my computer system. Like take an example of MATLAB, Matrix Laboratory. It is a popular software. So sometimes when you open MATLAB, it takes 2-3 minutes to open that particular software. Take an example of Microsoft Word. Sometimes it takes 30-40 seconds to open it. So that is no way connected to your internet, right? No way related to your internet, right? So even if you have a good internet connectivity, while accessing some kind of services, you may face difficulty. So everything about the program, from interface to the current document, has to be sent back and forth from your computer to the computers in the cloud. If you are doing some modification in your document and it is a part of suppose your Google Drive, so it is synced to Google server, right? The same thing, whatever you have modified, like Microsoft Word document you are editing. In each and every interval, the file is saved or not. Automatically it is saved after 30 seconds, say after 20 seconds you can say. Even if you are not saving your file, automatically the file is saved. Similarly, once a file is saved or taken, if a copy of that file is taken, that need to be synced to cloud. So you can say your front end is your that application where you are editing, but or your computer system, and background is the computer who stores your information in the cloud, right? So both need to sync. That can be also slower, right? Suppose you have stored a large amount of data in your desktop Google Drive, that need to be synced to your computer that is there in the cloud. So it will take some time to sync all the files to the cloud. So that can be slow also. So if the cloud server happens to be backed up at the moment, or if the internet is having a slow day, you would not get instantaneous access you might expect for desktop application. So desktop is only dedicated to you. So whatever application you have used in your desktop, that is managed by you. So you may get faster access. But if the internet is down for a particular day, sometimes the internet is also down for some maintenance activity in a particular organization. So on those days, you may face difficulty in order to access your applications. So that is also considered as one of the drawbacks. Next is cloud is always criticized with the security and privacy. People ask that whatever data stored in the cloud, is it secure? You can say data can be secure if it is encrypted. In security, you have studied, right? Plain text is converted to ciphertext through an encryption key. Again, ciphertext is converted to plain text with another key that is called a decryption key. There may be a symmetric key or there may be an asymmetric key. But the question arises that wherever you want to keep your data, whether the data is stored in normal way, in plain text, or it in the ciphertext. Okay, that's why the question always arises: how secure is the cloud? Security may related to while you are moving your things to the cloud, like a particular organization has decided to move from its traditional infrastructure to the cloud infrastructure. So while you are making the movement, there may be a attack also in between. That is one type of security loopholes. Another loopholes you can say that when the data is stored in the cloud server, as it is not not in the ciphertext form, anybody can access it, right? So all your data is stored in the cloud. That always a question mark is that how secure that those data. Can an unauthorized person, those who are not authorized to access that particular data, can gain access to that particular data? Suppose some unauthorized user learns to some kind of attack to get that particular data. Like you have shared your Gmail password with your friend, then your friend can easily see whatever emails you have in your email box, right? So he is an unauthorized person. Somehow he got your password and can get your information. And some data are also confidential data. So such data can be revealed by a unauthorized person, right? Sometimes also you can see, suppose you have logged in uh, to Gmail from one part of our country, let's say from Mizoram, right? Immediately after 1 minute, you are another login access is asked for the same account from Warangal. So if you see both locations are different, and it is also not possible for anyone to move from X location to Y location within 1 minute. So at that time, some security policies enforce us to enter a particular password. Like they are showing a two-digit number, three or four two-digit number, and ask which number is displayed in your screen. You press that one so that we can verify you are a authorized user. Right? You may share your password with your friend who is very far away from you and can access your things. But at that time, double verification is required to know that really that person knows your password because of you only. There is not a attack. So such type of verification, like nowadays also we are talking about two-step verification. Now, if you see our money bank also enforces multiple passwords. They send OTP, so that makes the system as a secure system. So confidentiality is not revealed because of that. Next, somebody can say that if the data is stored in by Google in some server, if that server is failed, or if the server is due to some natural calamity or due to some intentional or unintentional behavior, if all the data are erased, then what will happen? You can say stored data can be lost. So theoretically, you can say if the data is stored in one location and if something happened, some mishappening happened, right? Then what happened? The data is lost. But the data are not stored in a single location. Our emails also, if you see, our email data is not stored in one location. It is stored in multiple locations, which we call as a redundancy, or we can say replica. So theoretically, it is better to say the data is stored in one place, or you can say data stored in the cloud is safe. Okay, but practically what happened? It is replicated across multiple machines. So if a machine fails, or if in a particular part of the world where the data center is there, and we are getting limited access into that particular part, other parts where your data is kept, from there you can access your copy, right? Like one part I am stored in India, another is US, another is, let's say, Europe. So simultaneously, these three sections, these three regions are not going to down. The service is not going to down. So as it is stored in multiple machines, we can easily access it. So on the off chance that your data goes missing, you have no physical and local backup. If it is stored in one machine, simply if it is a one machine, then somehow the data is lost, then there is no backup. Okay. So, but as we have stored in multiple machines, we can retrieve from any of the machines. So relying on the cloud puts you at risk if the cloud lets you down. Okay. Now, otherwise, periodically also if it is down, some duration it is down, it may affect the business process also. Right? If the service is not available, like your email system, you cannot retrieve for 1 day. Then some important mails, is suppose you are going to receive today, you will not get. So that also leads to some issues, right? So you have to ensure that the data should be stored in multiple parts of the uh, world, right? Similarly, come to the HPC system, that is called as high performance system. If you go for high performance computing, generally we do parallel processing. Parallel processing means multiple works we can do simultaneously, right? Generally, HPC applications are the codes are written in MPA, that is called as message passing interface, or we can run the code in Open MPA. Okay, but if you go for HPC system, if you are not clear that you can run compute intensive HPC application or data intensive application or any other application, you are not sure about that, and again there is a issue, right? Moreover, suppose you have written a particular program which requires only one processor to execute. So even if multiple processors are there, that is of no use. You have written a sequential program. You have not written a parallel program. If parallel programs are there, multiple processors are there, somehow you can achieve better performance. Okay. But if you have written a sequential program, although it is a compute intensive application, that is of no use even if multiple processors are there. That is also one of the drawbacks, since user is not aware of that thing. Another is scheduling is also important part with all type of applications. Okay, proper management, proper resource management, proper task scheduling algorithms, proper resource management algorithms are highly essential in order to build a good robust system, or you can say a better ecosystem. These are the primary requirements. And you want all the VMs to be co-located to minimize communication latency. Suppose VM is placed in one location, you want to co-locate into another locations. Then again, the latency is one issue. Okay. Not only that, there are some general concerns are also there. Like each cloud system uses different protocols and APIs. I told you, like different shopping malls are having different reward points. In the similar fashion, each and every cloud service provider uses different protocols and different APIs. So the main problem is that if they are using same type of APIs, then you can migrate. Migrate means movement. You can move from one cloud service provider to another cloud service provider. But as because they are using different, you can say different cloud protocols or different APIs, so it is very difficult from moving from one cloud service provider to another cloud service provider. So it may not be possible to run application between cloud-based system. So as we say hybrid cloud. Hybrid cloud means it is a combination of any two cloud, either a public and private or public and community or private and community. But when you want to integrate two different type of cloud, the problem is that if they use the different APIs, if they agree on the same API, the problem is solved. But if they are dependent on different APIs and applications, so it is difficult for you to migrate from one provider to another provider. Similarly, if you see Amazon, Amazon is a very popular cloud service provider. Amazon has created its own database system. They are not using your SQL, structured query language. Okay. And they have also their own workflow system. Although there are many popular workflow systems are there, but they have their own workflow system. So today you are subscribed to Amazon, tomorrow you are planning to move to another provider. So movement from Amazon to that provider is not that much easy. So your normal applications will have to be adapted to execute on these platforms. So migration becomes very, very tough when they are not using the same type of applications. Right? What may be other advantages or disadvantages? Can anybody guess? These are mentioned in the slides, but now you have experienced So the pros and different views of cloud computing. Can anybody tell what are the advantages and disadvantages of cloud computing rather than these things? Any guess? What may be other advantages and disadvantages based on your experience, based on whatever you have learned till now? Can anybody tell? Just guess it. Whatever comes to your mind, just guess it.
So suppose that any company is having some confidential data, so it can't be transmitted through cloud to any other means we can't store any of the data over the cloud. Ultimately, so that data has the company has the access to our data, so it should not be blindly uploaded on the cloud for the business purpose. So
Yes, that
this
is
thing so
true.
we can say.
To formalize it, I can say you now you know banking system. Okay, Indian banking system. You know about Indian military system. Our
Yes,
military system is having confidential data, right? So if that data is loaded into the cloud, assume that it is stored in some country who is not a friendly country of India, then we will face an issue, right? Because our in our geographical boundary, the data is not available. So other people can misutilize that particular data. One of such example is also given in the book also. Like if you go for United States, US Army is given as enormous power. They are given a massive power that any point of time, if anything leads to nation security, right? Somebody is trying to send a message which they feel that leads to nation security. So they can immediately track the system. Without any permission, they can track any system which leads to US national security. But now, if the US data is stored in Europe or in Singapore or in any other country, then US government has no right over that particular data. If the data is under your nation, then you can take actions, right? But if it is outside the organization, it is not possible to go through that particular data or control that particular data. In fact, US government needs to request to other governments to retrieve that particular data. Right? That is also one of the issues related to the disadvantage of the cloud. Another disadvantage is also there, like many marketplace. If you go, when the data is stored and when the data is in transit, transit means movement, right? And sometimes the uh, data is in static state or steady state, right? Another case, the data is in transit. So the rule that are enforced while the data is in static, and the rules that are enforced when the data is in transit are different. So not only the rule is with respect to country, in the same country also different rule is there when the data is in some storage and the data is in transit. So there also you will get issues. So multiple legislation problem also you will face in the case of cloud computing. Not only security part, legislation, multiple jurisdictions, you may get a lot of difficulties in the case of cloud, right? Over that, we have a lot of advantages. I'm not telling the disadvantages are more, but still these are the some of the challenges we have. That's why many cloud service provider, whenever you want to deploy some service, they are asking you in which region you want to deploy the service. Suppose in India, if you go for Amazon Web Service, in India we have Mumbai server, right? So while you are deploying some application, you can select Mumbai server. So that can be assured that your data is available in our country. Even if as a user you can store in US also, you can store in Singapore also, you can store in Tokyo also, right? Different options are there, but you have also given an option to store the data in your location or in your preferred location, right? So that way you can avoid the drawbacks of cloud computing, right? Now we'll go for evolution of cloud computing. Especially what we are going to discuss here, we'll see the business process. That's why it says business drives for adopting cloud computing. Like in each and every company, we have a chief executive officer. Like chief executive officer, we have chief technical officer, which we call as CTO. You are aware of CEO, but there is another post that is called as CTO, chief technical officer. The chief technical officer is the person who takes decisions about a different type of technology adoption. Suppose a new technology is coming to the market, whether adopting that particular technology is beneficial for that organization or not. So CTO has its team to decide whether to adopt a particular technology or the previous technology or the legacy system, or you can say the traditional system is better in comparison to the new technology. So they take decision. Again, different organizations are having different choice. Like if you go for different organization, I can divide the organization into three parts. One is small scale enterprises, medium scale enterprises, and another is you can say large scale enterprises. The decision may vary. If you put three CTOs in three different positions, one CTO will say that no, in-house server is better. Another case will say cloud server is better. Another one can say both are same. So different companies are having different requirements. By looking into that requirements, the CTO has to take a decision. So what may be the reasons? The main reason for interest in cloud computing is due to the fact that public clouds can significantly reduce the cost. Private cloud is costly, but you will get more security. Like if you set up a cloud in your organization, it is limited to the students, faculty members, staffs, administrative staffs, or stakeholders of that particular institute. So it is more secure. Nobody knows that you have a cloud, only except your members. But if you go for a public cloud, anybody can join, anybody can leave, anybody can do anything. So public cloud is going to reduce the cost. Private cloud case, it is costly. But security perspective, if you see, private cloud is more secure than the public cloud. So from end user perspective, you can look into the cloud computing in two different perspectives. One is user perspective, another is provider perspective. Okay, so if you look into user perspective, what we can say, now cloud computing gives the illusion of potentially infinite capacity with ability to scale rapidly and pay only for the consumed resources or pay only for the used resources. Okay, whatever resources you have used, based on that you pay it. You did not pay any extra amount. And potentially, this whole system is an infinite system. So as much as required, you can access the resources. Now, in contrast, providing for peak capacity is a necessity within private data center, leading to low average utilization of 5 to 20%. I already told you, utilization of the personal computers are low, utilizations of servers are also low. But due to this virtualization technology, you can enhance the utilization up to some extent. Like peak capacity, always you will not find the peak capacity. For any e-commerce site or any social networking site, always you cannot reach to the peak, right? Sometimes you can reach to the peak, but not every day you reach to close to peak or peak, right? So here you can see average utilization is only 5 to 20%. Okay, even if you are going to the cloud, if you have not utilized resources properly, that also leads to low resource utilization. That's why while moving to the cloud, first you have to do a calculation that whether moving to the cloud is beneficial or in-house server is better. Okay, So let us do one calculation related to that. This is called as your infrastructure as a service economics. Right? Now you can see here there is a table. The table has three columns. One is called as the characteristics. Second one is called as in-house server. Third one is called as your cloud server. Okay. You have certain characteristics, or you can say certain parameters. Like you are running a particular company, right? Somebody told you to move to the cloud. So you have to take a decision whether moving to the cloud is beneficial or running the business as it is, like what the way you are managing, that is beneficial, right? Now, see the comparison. Based on that, I'll tell you some problems so that you'll understand whether in-house server is better or cloud server is better. So, if you go for your own infrastructure, you are owning a startup company. Assume that. So, for your startup company, you need to purchase a server. So, purchase cost is how much? $9600. Let's say these are the raw figures. These are not, may not be the actual figures, right? So the configuration of the machine is also mentioned. It is having x86 processor. It is 3 quad core, 12 GB of RAM, 300 GB of hard disk. Okay. So if you have started a startup company and you want to purchase some machine or some server, the cost is you have to pay is $9600. Do you need to pay the purchase cost for cloud? If you want to move to cloud, do you need to pay the purchase cost? Can anybody answer?
No.
No. Because this will be purchased by whom? Your cloud service provider. Cloud service provider has to look for this purchase cost if the resource is not sufficient. So, but as a user perspective, you need not worry about the purchase cost. That's why the purchase cost is written as how much? What is the purchase cost written here?
0.
0. Right? Now, coming to cost per hour over 3 years. Like each and every machine, whatever we are using, each machine has a life period. Like if I ask you, what is the life period of smartphone? Then you will say, sir, it is 5 years. Because after 5 years, different configuration is coming. Okay. And whatever mobile phone I purchased 5 years back, I have replaced with a new phone. Because the technology is changed, the quality of photo I am taking, that is changed, a lot of things. And it is not having, although it is having more data, I am not facing any difficulty. It is not hanging anywhere, right? So assume that this calculation for in-house server and the cloud server, we are doing over a period of 3 years. Okay. So note that over a 3 years means we consider each year is having 365 days. Although some years are having 366 days, but as a normal calculation, we consider each year is 365 days. Like that, month case, a month can be 31, a month can be 30, or if you look into this particular month, how many days we have this month? How many days are there in this month?
28.
Exactly, 28. But as a calculation, we consider 1 month is equal to 30 days. So consider 1 month is equal to 30 days. 1 year is equal to 365 days. Can you calculate what is the cost per hour? If the total machine cost, okay, the purchase cost is $9600. Can you calculate how much cost you have to pay per hour for a period of 3 years? Calculate. Don't look into this table. Calculate it. So what you have to do here? You have to calculate cost per hour. So calculate it. How will calculate? Tell me first.
First, we will be dividing
Yeah,
9,600 with the number of days we have, that is 365.
yeah,
And since we have 24 hours in 365 days, so we will also divide it by 24. 24
exactly.
into 365. Yes.
Into 3. Okay, because 3 years, right? So calculate it. Check how much you are getting. Open your smartphone
Sir,
calculator. Yeah,
sir
yeah.
0.365.
0.365. It is written here 0.36. So approximately you will get. Okay, any other answer you are getting, then you tell me. Any other answer anyone is getting? So you will get 9600 divided by 26280. Okay, as he mentioned, you have to write 9600 divided by 3 into 365. 3 years. Okay, and number of days is 365, and each day you have 24 hours. Right? So if you calculate, as he mentioned, that the value you will get is $365,296,804, something like this. Okay, but you take 2 decimal or 3 decimal based on your requirement, right? 3 decimal is sufficient. Now, cloud case, who will determine this particular cost? Can anybody tell? Who will determine this cost?
Sir, the service provider.
Exactly. The service provider has decided this particular cost. Now you will say, how I will know that what is the exact cost? So for this, all of you open your browser, go to Amazon EC2. Okay, type Amazon EC2, Amazon EC2. Okay, I already mentioned you Amazon EC2 is a compute cloud. Right? Go to this is the second link, or I'll share this link in the chat box. Go to this. Okay. Now look for instances. Check where the instance is there. You can see pricing is there, instance type is there. Go to pricing. So here, as I have not logged in, it is not showing me any price. Right? So let me show you different instance type details. Okay. Come to this instance type details. Okay. So here you can see there are different type of instances we have. Like here they mentioned Amazon EC2 M7G instances. But you can see one of the popular instances called as T2 instance. Okay, T2 instance. I'll go to T2 instance. First you see the first instance. Okay, see these are the different instance. Instance means it is nothing but just like a virtual machine. So if you have subscribed to M7G medium, okay, M7G indicates it is a series, just like our mobile phones are having a series, and it is a medium instance. So if you are subscribed to this particular instance, your cloud service provider is going to provide you one virtual CPU, 4 GB of memory, elastic block storage only as the instance storage. Network bandwidth it will give up to 12.5 Gbps. EBS bandwidth you will get up to 10. Right? Now, you see in what way these instances are different from each other. They are different in terms of virtual CPU and memory. Right? Like if I go for, see, M7G metal, a very powerful instance. How many virtual CPUs we have? 64. Here it is only one, right? First one it is only one. Here it is 64. And if you ask the GB memory size, then it is 256 and bandwidth is 30. Okay, 30 is nothing but your network bandwidth and EBS bandwidth is your 20. Similarly, you go to any type of instance, you go to T2 micro instance or any instance, you will find a set of instance. Like here you can see, there is an instance called nano instance, micro instance, small, medium, large, X large, 2X large. So they are in small to higher order. Okay, small to large order. And you can see virtual CPUs are ranging from 1 to 8. CPU credit per hour. Assume that one credit is $1. So if you use a T2 nano instance, then you have to pay 3 CPU credit per hour, means $3. Okay, and its performance is low because number of virtual CPUs are less only. But if you go for large instance, okay, if you go for 2x large instance, T2.2x large, in that case, you will see CPU credit hour is 81. So based upon our usage, you are going to subscribe the resources. That's why the resources are is considered as infinite. Like the person who required T2 nano instance, he or she can maximum ask for what? A medium instance or large instance or X large instance. Will not go beyond that one, right? Because if one virtual CPU is sufficient, maximum you require 4 virtual CPU. If 3 CPU credit hour you are paying, you can be maximum of 24 or 36, not beyond that one, based upon your growth of your business. Right? So here also, if you log in, you can get the cost of each and every instance. Okay. So from this cost, we analyze that the cost is $0.68. This is for what? This is for hour. Each hour you have to pay $0.68. If it is $1, you can consider $1 is one CPU credit. Assume that there is no credit hour considered here. They consider directly in dollar. Okay. So they mentioned that $0.68 you have to pay per hour. Right? Now, if I ask you to calculate the cost ratio, what is cost ratio? Cost ratio is the ratio between whom? Cloud versus in-house. Cloud versus in-house. Can anybody calculate the cost ratio? Quickly calculate. How you are calculating? Tell me first.
Sir, 0.68 divided by 0.36.
Exactly. 0.68 is the cost per hour in the case of cloud, divided by 0.36 cost per hour in the case of in-house server. If I do it, I'll get 1.88. Right? I think up to this it is clear. Right? Now, when you take a particular server, the server has some efficiency. Okay, or a particular efficiency you can achieve in a server, right? Like machine case also you studied efficiency. Efficiency is nothing but output by input. So always the efficiency is better in the case of cloud in comparison to in-house server. So here we consider the efficiency is 40%. Efficiency is 40%, but you have purchased a server for what? 100% efficiency. If you have purchased a server for your company or for your personal use, the efficiency is 100%. You can achieve efficiency up to 100%. But due to the limitation of application, due to skilled engineer, the utilization is only 40%. But in the cloud case, you can see the utilization is efficiency is 80%. So these are random figures. There is no exact value for it. For this calculation, these particular values are given to you. Similarly, you have to pay some cost, right? Cost per effective hour. the total cost per effective hour is calculated as 0.9 and it is 0.85. Okay, effective hour means not only we are considering the cost associated with instruments. Instruments means resource, you can say servers, but also some extra additional cost is there, right? That I am also calculating. That's why I'm saying it is cost per effective hour is 0.9 here, 0.85 here. Similarly, suppose you have purchased a server, you need cooling. Like our systems are also recommended to use in room temperature. Room temperature means 25 degrees Celsius. Okay, so for that you may require some cooling device or cooling method. It may be a water cooling, like data center case they are using water cooling, or they may use the air conditioner as a cooling. So if you use cooling, you have to pay $0.36 per hour. But cloud case, it is zero because your cloud service provider has to take care of that thing. That's why your cloud service provider add this cost either in cost per hour or in the cost per effective hour. Now come to management cost. Management cost is $0.1. Here the cost is $0.01. Management means suppose you have 50 servers in your company. So there should be a person to monitor these servers. If a server is having some issue, then you have to resolve it. You have to call technician, manage this. For that also you have to recruit some people. You have to give employment to these people. So you have to give training. So for that, the management cost is estimated as $0.10. Now, total cost per effective hour is 1.36, which is nothing but sum of these three. This is cost per effective hour. I am calculating total cost per effective hour, that is 1.36. But if you add these three values, it is coming as 0.86. So in the cloud case, it is 0.86 is the total cost per effective hour. Now, if you calculate cost ratio, do it calculate cost ratio. Cost ratio is nothing but the ratio between in-house server cost divided by cloud server cost. So how much you will get? Can anybody calculate? So you can take also reverse also. Not necessarily you are going to calculate in-house versus cloud. Sometimes you can take cloud versus in-house also. How much you are getting?
1.58139535.
Yeah, 1.58139535. You take up to 3 decimal. 3 decimal place is sufficient, right? So now you have calculated the cost in both the scenario, right? Not only this, I'll tell you also some new data I'll also give you where you can try and calculate whether your in-house server is better or cloud server is better. Like here you can see, although the cost is higher here, you can see, you can notice here, cloud server cost is higher. Here the price is low, right? But here you can see, if you go for total cost per effective hour, it is $1.36, it is 0.86. So based on this, if you calculate, then you can determine whether in-house server is better or cloud server is better. So let me tell you another data. I'll give you another data, and I request you to do this calculation so that you will be able to know how actually these calculations are done. Okay. Now suppose there is a company. Let's say the company is X company, right? And then company needs to support a spike in demand. Spike in demand means you can say there is a fluctuate in the demand, right? Sometimes it is high, sometimes it is low. And these companies may be popular, so it may get spike in demand. And this company potentially by a reduction once some visitors turn away. Sometimes some visitors also not interested to purchase some product. Sometimes some visitors are interested to purchase product. So you will find a spike in demand for this particular company. Now the company has two choices. The first one, let me write as in-house server. in-house server. Let us calculate all the values in INR, Indian rupees, and there is a cloud server. Right? Now, there are some costs, like let us assume the purchase cost. Like previously, I told you, here let's say purchase cost is 6 lakh, here purchase cost is 0. And this particular machine which you purchase for your company, that is having number of CPU cores as 12. Here the number of CPU cores you have subscribed, it is 8. Then if you calculate cost per hour over 3 years span, okay, over a 3 period, so there is no cost extra rupees you have to pay, but here you have to pay, the cost is 42. Okay, here you can calculate cost per hour, that's why I put hyphen. The meaning of hyphen is you can calculate, right? No extra cost is required apart from that. Next is efficiency. Efficiency in the in-house server is, let's say, 40%, and here it is 80%. And power and cooling cost. Power and cooling cost per hour, if you calculate, it is 22, let's say, and here it is nil. The last one is called as management cost. Management cost, that is also I'm calculating cost per hour. It is 6, and here it is 1. Right? Like that, you are given with the 2 proposals. Right? So what you have to calculate here? Obviously, if you want, if you are very interested to know that whether in-house server is better or cloud server is better. So first one, you have to calculate the price of a core, because it is given with respect to core. Here there are 12 cores are there, and cloud case it is 8 cores are there. So you have to calculate the price of a core hour on in-house server against the cloud server. Can anybody calculate first thing? First to solve this one, then I'll go tell you the second question. Calculate the price of a core hour on in-house server and cloud server. Solve it. I'm giving you 2-minute time. Calculate the price of a core hour on in-house server and cloud server. So already for in-house server, the purchase cost is given. Number of cores are also given. So you can calculate, already you have calculated in the previous example, you have calculated the cost per hour over 3 periods, 3 years. The same way you calculate cost per hour for in-house server, but here the additional thing is given to you is the number of CPU core. What is the cost per hour for in-house server?
22.83.
Yes. So the answer is that like 6 lakh is given to you, right? And 3 years is given to you. So 3 years into 365 into 24. So if you calculate this price, you are going to get 22.83 INR, okay, Indian rupees. Okay, but the question is not related to this one. Question is asking core hour. It is not asking you cost per hour. It is asking core per hour. So you can write core hour for in-house server. In-house server is equal to how much? Can anybody guess? Can anybody guess? For 12 cores, you are getting the price is 22.83. So per core, how much you will get? 22.83 divided by 12, right? So I hope you will get 1.90 INR. Is it clear how you are getting? Is it
Yes,
clear?
sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it is clear, then can you calculate for the next one? That is core per hour for cloud server. Do it. Yeah, any guess? Core per hour for cloud server? How much you are paying cost per hour in cloud? How much you are paying? 5.25. Dheeraj is saying 5.25. Exactly. It's calculated correctly. So core per cost theory you have given with 42, right? 42 for how many cores? 8 cores. So per core, we are calculating per core, right? So 42 divided by 8, I am getting 5.25 INR. Okay, the first question is solved. Now coming to the second question. What is second question? Second question says that, let's say, find the cost per effective hour for both the option. For both the options. How to calculate cost per effective hour? The previous one, they see. Previous one we have calculated two things. Cost per effective hour, total cost for effective hour. Right? So while you are taking cost per effective hour, you have to consider the efficiency. For example, let me calculate one. You have to calculate the next. Right? For example, cost per effective hour for in-house server. In-house server. It is nothing but 22.83 you are paying, right? Cost per hour. But you are utilizing how much? You are utilizing only 40%. Okay, efficiency is only 40%. So if it is 100%, then how much you will pay? So it is nothing but 22.83 divided by 40%. 40% means what? 22.83 divided by 40 by 100. Okay, so what we can say, 22.83 divided by this one means multiplied by 100 by 40. How much you will get? Can anybody calculate?
Sir, 57.07.
Exactly. 57.07. I'm getting 0.75. There may be slight difference you will get based upon the number of digits you have considered. Now, similarly, can you calculate for cost per effective power for cloud server? Quick calculate it.
52.5.
Exactly. Right? So you can calculate cost per effective hour for cloud server is equal to how much you are getting here? 42, right? For 80%, right? 80 divided by 100. So 42 multiplied by 100 divided by 80. So as he mentioned, it is 52.5. Right? Second question is also done. Now let us go for the third question. Let's say the third question is calculate the ratio of the cost per, let us go for the total cost, because cost per effective hour means you will just take ratio, but let us go for total cost per effective hour. You know, total means you have to add other factors also. For in-house to cloud server deployment. Okay. Calculate the ratio of the total cost per effective hour for in-house server to cloud server deployment. So total cost per effective hour, how will calculate? Tell me. If I want to calculate total cost for, yeah, please tell me.
Cost per effective hour for in-house plus power and cooling cost per hour and management cost of in-house.
Exactly. How much you are getting? Calculate it.
Sir, for in-house, it is 85.07.
Yes. 57.075 plus I'm adding 22 and 6, right? So 22 plus 6. So you will get how much?
So
How much?
85.075.
85.075. Okay. Now similarly, you know how to calculate for cloud server. So calculate it. Total cost per effective hour for cloud or cloud server. How much you will get?
53.5.
Exactly. 52.5 plus 1, you are getting 53.5. But what it is asked, the question is not to calculate the total cost for effective hour. The question asked you to calculate ratio. Ratio between whom? Ratio between in-house to cloud. What is the calculation you got for in-house? It is 85.075 divided by, what is the cost you got for cloud? 53.5. Take the ratio. I'm writing here ratio
1.590.
1.590. Or you can say 1.5. Okay, is it clear up to this or any confusion? Okay, if it is clear, I have another question. Let me write here that you can calculate easily, right? It is not a new question, it is just a modification of this question. Suppose if the efficiency of in-house server, what is the any efficiency of in-house server? Efficiency of in-house server is 40%. So it says if the efficiency of in-house server is increased by or increased to 70%, then which deployment will have now better total cost per effective hour? Okay, so before going to this question, tell me, if you are a CTO of a company, which plan you will choose? In-house plans you will choose or cloud plan you will choose? Plan A or plan B?
B, since we don't have power and cooling cost also, and the management cost is also less.
No,
as
you
well
see
as
the
the
total cost. You see the total cost. Don't look into this cost, right? This cost is a part of our cost, right? But we have to calculate the total cost. Total cost you have calculated here, right? By looking into these two total cost, tell me which solution is better.
Sir, cloud service
cloud.
only matter.
Exactly. Because cloud case you are paying 53.5 INR, but here you are paying 85.075 INR. That's why you can take a decision that I'll go for plan B, not plan A. Means cloud server plan will go. So now I have simply modified this question by considering this 40% is 70%. Okay, you do the recalculation by taking,
Sir,
yeah,
sir, after 70%, it is 60.6 for in-house.
60.61 for in-house. Let me write here. Okay, I'll write here. In-house is saying 60.61. Okay, what about
Yes, sir.
cloud?
Sir, cloud is same only, sir.
53.5.
53.5.
So again, which one is better?
Cloud.
Cloud is better, right? So how you got 60.61? Can anybody tell? So here
We
yeah. Tell me.
we did the same calculation as cost effective per hour for in-house, so we
Yes,
divided it by 60 and 70 instead of 40.
exactly. So if you calculate here, let me show you those who have not calculated. So 22.83, right? Earlier you divided 40 by 100, right? Now I am doing 70 by 100. So if you do so, how much you are getting?
32.61.
How much? Okay, 32.61. Now, whatever cost we got here, after that what I did? I have added 22 plus 6. So I have to add plus 22 plus 6. So I think after adding this one, you will get 60 point, how much?
61.
61, yes. But cloud case as it is, we have not changed the efficiency. Right? Sometimes some people can say also, if there is a question that efficiency is degraded by 70%, degraded to 70% from 80%, then calculate for cloud and compare. That type of question also can come, and people can ask also, right? So cloud case, it is as it is 53 point, cloud case it is 53.5, right? So 53.5. Still, the best choice is go for cloud server. The last calculation you do, if we increase to 90%, if we increase to 90%, what will happen? 22.83 divided by 90 by 100. How much you will get? You have to add 22 plus 6. Then you calculate the total one. But in the cloud case, it is 53.5 only.
Uh,
See whether
sir,
this value is big.
sir, for the above, it
Yeah,
is 53.36.
53 point, where I write? Here or here?
First one, sir,
So
53.36.
last,
Last column,
53 point,
yes,
53.36.
36.
What value you are getting here?
25.36.
Okay. So you can see there is a minor difference. So which one is better?
In-house.
In-house,
in-house.
yes, in-house server is better. Okay. Like that, you can calculate, compare two different plan, right? And decide that the in-house server is better or cloud server is better, right? Is it okay? Or shall I give you another question? Can you practice another question? Okay, let me give you another question. Suppose two plans are again there. Let's say the purchase cost is 70,000 for in-house server, and for cloud server it is nil, right? Then cost per hour, okay, HR means hour, right? Over 3 years, it is nil, but it is 7 rupees. Efficiency is 40%. Here it is 80%. Power and cooling, that is cost per hour, it is 30 rupees, it is nil. Management cost, it is cost per hour, it is 20 and it is 1. Okay, here this problem is more simpler, right? Because the number of CPU cores are not given. Okay, so if you have to choose one plan, choose one plan. Again, the same question repeat here. Calculate the price of a core per hour. There is no core per hour here, so you can say calculate the price based upon cost per hour for in-house server and cloud server. Okay, let me write the question. You try to solve. So first question says that calculate the price of cost per hour on in-house server and cloud server. First you calculate this one. You know
So
how to
that will
calculate.
be 6.66. No, so that will be 2.66.
Which one? For in-house server?
Yes, sir.
So in-house server case, what you will do? You will do 70,000 divided by 3 years, right? So it is 3 into 365 into 24. How much you are getting?
So 2.66.
2.66. Go for cloud. Cloud case, it is straightforward, right? 7 is the cost per hour. So no need for any calculation. But now if you look into efficiency, okay, if you look into efficiency, it is nothing but 2.66. Efficiency is 40%, right? So you can write 40 by 100. How much you are getting here?
6.65.
6.65. Yes, correct. Then cloud case,
8.75.
7 divided by 800, right? So you are getting 8 point, how much?
75.
Okay, 7.5. Okay, by looking into this, you can say cloud is a little bit costly, but you have to add other cost also. What are the other cost? Other cost is cooling cost you have to add here, right? And management cost also you have to add here. So it is nothing but 30, 20 is 50. So 6.5 means it is 56.65. Okay. But if you go for here, it is only padding plus 1. So it is 9.75. Right or not? So now, if you look into this, you can say which one is better. Cloud is better, right? Because the price is very nominal. Now, if I ask you to calculate the ratio is nothing but 56.65 divided by 9.75. How much you are getting?
5.81.
5.82. Okay. Now, if I ask you the same question which I asked there, right? If the efficiency of in-house server is increased to 70%, right? Then find the total cost per effective hour. Calculate it.
53.8.
53.8. Oh, you have to carry out the same calculation by 2.66 divided by 70 divided by 100. How much you are getting here?
3.8.
Okay, plus 30 plus 20. So it is coming 53.8. Cloud case, it is as it is. Okay, so you will get, again, the best option is your cloud only. Right? Now, if I change the question like this, if the efficiency of cloud server, you take cloud server, is decreased to 70%, then find the total cost for effective hour.
11.
It is 11, right? Because I think you are getting 7 by 70 divided by 100. Are you getting 10?
Yes, sir.
Plus 1, that is 11. This plus 1 is because of management cost, okay? So in this way, you can calculate two different plans and make a decision based on IaaS economics. As we consider only the infrastructure cost, okay, we only focus on the infrastructure cost. That's why the calculation, it is coming like this. Sometimes I can put some cost related to the operating system. Sometimes I'll put some cost related to the software. So by looking into that, you have to finally calculate which one is better, whether your in-house server is better or the cloud server is better. Okay. Now, coming to the benefits for the end user while using public cloud. Okay, before going to any doubt in this calculation, you go through it. These calculations are very straightforward. Okay, there is no complication. Once you are done with first problem, you can easily solve the second problem. Any question related to this one?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay. Let us see what are the benefits for the end user while using public cloud. I already mentioned public cloud means it is less costly, right? And private cloud means limited number of people are there. That's why it is more costly, you can say, but it is more secure. But if you see utilization perspective, which one is better? Suppose 100 people are using a system, 1,000 people are using a system. Let again say this is a plan A, plan B. Which plan is better? Which case you will get better utilization?
B. Plan B.
B. Yeah. That's why in the public case you will get high utilization. Because number of people are more, so resources are more utilized than your private cloud. Similarly, scalability case, it is more. Right? Private clouds are not that much scalable in the case of public cloud, like our email system. Let's say for our email system, Google has given us, I told you, our email systems are off-premises private cloud, right? Our email systems are running with 5 servers. So tomorrow, there may be a requirement of 10 servers, not beyond that one. But when you go for public system, if there are 5,000 systems are there, there may be a requirement of 10,000 of system or 1 lakh of systems also. So it is more scalable. And there is no separate hardware procurement, because once you observe what is the load, based upon that you can decide whether hardware procurement is required or not. But for user perspective, as we are talking about benefits to the end user perspective, there is no procurement of hardware and there is no separate power cost also. Electricity is paid by whom? Your cloud service provider. Electricity is not paid by the user. There is no separate infrastructure, IT infrastructure administration or maintenance required. Like you have seen in the previous plans also, maintenance, cooling, these costs are quite low, negligible in the case of cloud. So for end user perspective, there is no need to purchase any infrastructure rather than we are renting the infrastructure. Like one of the example you can say, suppose you arranged a party, right? Let it be a marriage party or it is a get together party. You invited 500 people. Right? 500 people you have invited as a guest. So there is two plan. Plan A says that purchase 500 plates because you invited 500 people, so 500 plates are sufficient. Plan B says that no need to no need to purchase 500 plates. Rather than you use 500 use and throw plates or 500 plates you have to borrow from the some vendor. That you can do. So obviously, plan B is better because you are not purchasing this one because you know once the party is over, there is no use of these 500 plates. Okay, in normal family, how many plates we require? We require only 10 plates. Right? That is sufficient to accommodate all the members of our home. So that is of no use. That's why infrastructure cost, maintenance cost, these are not given by the user. Rather than these are actually provided by the user. Now, public cloud offer user-friendly SLA. As the number of users are more, today you may not encounter a particular point mentioned in a SLA, service level agreement, because you are not aware of the system. But those people who are aware of the system, they will definitely point out. Like you can see some social media apps, some e-commerce sites, if they are stealing data, some privacy data, people are putting objections. But in private cloud, if nobody is aware of that thing, nobody is going to complain, nobody is going to put any kind of uh, problem or any kind of issues related to that particular SLA. But as the same SLA is given to a very large group of users, if there is any issue related to SLA, that can be easily identified. That's why we have user-friendly SLA in the case of public cloud, which offers you high availability. And the availability is 99%. Like if you go for Amazon S3 website, I mentioned in the previous class about Amazon S3. S3 stands for Simple Storage Service. Go to Amazon S3 site. You will see it scales storage resources to meet fluctuating needs with 99.99. So total 9 is 11 nines of data durability. It is mentioned this one. So here we are talking about 99%, but till now Amazon has achieved 99.99. Okay, availability or durability you can say. And also provide compensation in case of SLA miss. If SLA is not followed, if SLA is violated, then you have to pay the compensation charge. Right? We have also a set of problems related to SLA. SLA, I will tell you in the right point of time that you are given with a proposal. I will ask you to calculate that what is the violation cost, whether any violation happens or not. If there is no violation, then it is fine. If there is a violation, how much cost the provider has to give to the user, or how much discount the user will get for that particular service, right? And user can rent the cloud to develop, test, prototypes before making major investment in technology. Like we are not saying with this technology you cannot set up your own cloud. Rather than, if you are interested to use cloud, first you take a overview of your cloud by taking a normal subscription. Once you are habituated with the system, then you can think for your company, right? So first everyone is trying to test that whether it is suitable or not. We are going for a prototype of a particular product. Once we succeed in that, then we go for the actual investment or actual adoption of a particular technology. Similarly, in order to enhance the portability from one public cloud to another, it is very important. Today you have subscribed to Amazon. Tomorrow you have decided to move to Google. Okay, due to, let's say, cost constraint, due to feature constraint, due to anything, right? So what we need? We need portability, or we can say interportable or interportability. So several organizations such as Cloud Computing Interoperability Forum, there is a forum called like Quora.com is also a forum, right, to discuss many things. Similarly, in cloud computing, we have a interoperability forum and open cloud consortium is another forum are coming up with the standard for portability. If some standard is enforced to both the provider, then only you can move from one provider to another provider. If there is no common standards followed by multiple cloud service provider, it is difficult for you to migrate from one provider to another provider. Like you can see, one of the cloud service provider is called as Amazon EC2. Another cloud service provider is called as Equiliptus. It is also a very famous cloud service provider. You can explore it if you want. Okay. So both cloud service providers share the same application programming interface, right? But if the same API is not there, it is difficult, right? So AWS is open source software for building. Equiliptus is open source software for building AWS compatible private and hybrid cloud. Right? It is also infrastructure as a service. Amazon EC2 also you have seen it is a you can say infrastructure as a service. You can say Amazon S3 is also an infrastructure as a service. Yes, because they are using the same API interface, you can use one in another. Like I mentioned, Equiliptus uses AWS for set up private cloud or hybrid cloud. Similarly, software startup benefit tremendously by renting computing and storage infrastructure on the cloud instead of buying them as they are uncertain about their own future. During COVID time also, if you see, many organizations requested their employee to work from home because they are working in many client projects. They are placed in their location in Bangalore or Hyderabad or Kolkata, New Delhi, any other centers, right? So if you want to set up your company in a particular building, you have to pay the rent charge, you have to pay the electricity charge, you have to also pay for chair, table, other things. Okay, but if an employee is work from home, the same thing you can achieve without spending any amount in these things, right? And there is no need to purchase a floor of a particular building to set up our business. That's why most of the startup companies or software companies, they till now also they have informed their employees to work from home because finally the outcome matters rather than one person has to come to the company and do the work, right? So you can rent both computing and storage rather than buy them because we don't know whether our business is running will run for a longer period of time or a shorter period of time, whether there is a profit or there is a loss. And for that purpose, we are using cloud services. Here you can see an interesting thing. I told you the enterprises or businesses are divided into three types. One is called as small enterprises, another is called as medium enterprises, another is called as large enterprises. So small to medium level enterprises are having only the monetary issues. But large enterprises, they have enough budget, enough money. Number of employees are very, very huge. So they can manage their own setup. They can go for traditional infrastructure. They can set up their own cloud. They can do a lot of things. But when you go for small and medium business, you can see the number of employees are quite less. Preferably it is less than 250. So this SMB, small medium businesses, can think of for the cloud services. because cloud services are cheaper for them. So here we are comparing two things. What is their current view and what is their view in 2 to 3 years. So there are certain factors they have considered here. They considered several tasks in cloud services currently going on or ongoing and in 2 to 3 years. So they consider project management, okay, and currently it is 12%, but it is expected to grow to 22%. Okay, so you can say 92% is the overall improvement. Similarly, if you go for instant messaging, right, or customer support, it is 23% currently, and it will be grow for 47%. These are some statistics given. No need to remember these statistics, but rather than you can see what is their expectation in which particular task they are spending more time and more value and more cost. Similarly, online backup and database, it is 22% now. It will increase by 11%, and it will reach to 49% in next 2 to 3 years. Similarly, voice communication, it is 23% now, it will increase to 54%. Marketing, it is 8%, going to increase 13% in next 2 to 3 years. Email system, 40% to 65%. Web conferencing, 17% to 35%. And file sharing, it is 21% to 45%. These statistics are given by actually the Microsoft, right? You can visit this particular source to get the details about this one. Okay, and these services includes the free and paid services. Because temporarily they are giving free services for, let's say, some certain period of time. Once that period is over, then you have to pay for longer period of time, right? Or for a 2-year or subscription mode, you can say, right? Paid services. Okay, so you can see out of these areas, which area you need to focus. Whether your company belongs to what are the tasks done by your particular company and which task is matching with these 8 tasks. Then you can take a decision whether moving to the cloud is beneficial or not. Now, coming to the private cloud. See, again here there is a comparison. First one says that cost of one server. Let us consider there is one server. Okay, this is server 1. And this server is having 12 cores. Okay, that is cost of one server with 12 cores. And it is having 12 GB of RAM. Another scenario, you have 12 servers. Okay, I can say server 1 to server 12. Each server is having 1 core and 1 GB of RAM. Tell me which solution is better. If I call it, this is a plan A and this is plan B. You have a server, one server, 12 cores and 12 GB of RAM in your first plan. In the second plan, you have 12 different servers. Each server is having 1 core and 1 GB of RAM. Tell me which one is beneficial. Which plan is better?
Plan A.
Plan A. Somebody is saying plan A. Any other answer? See, you have to look into different perspective. They said about plan A. Because why to have multiple servers? Why not I have single server so that I can run my task very smoothly? That is one aspect. Some people can also say that plan B is better. Why? The answer of plan B is better because if a particular server is failed, then you are remaining with 11 servers. So by 11 server, you can do your work. But in the plan A case, if one server is failed, it is only one server, right? So definitely in that context, plan B is better. So you have to consider certain requirements, certain characteristics to decide in which context plan A, plan B is better, and what are the context with respect to your organization. But if you see with respect to the cost, so it says cost of one server is far lower than the cost of 12 servers. If you purchase 12 different computer systems and purchase one system having same configuration, if you sum all the machines, okay, like here it is 1 GB RAM, 12 machines are having 1 GB, so it is 12 GB. One core in each and every server, that means if there are 12 machines, are there 12 cores. If that is there in one machine, definitely the cost is cheap. Individually purchasing one server, it is difficult. It is more costly, right? But if you see with respect to execution of a particular task, if you see but with respect to management of these things, right, and dividing the task and assigning each chunk of the task to individual server, in that context you can see the plan B is better than the plan A. Obviously, plan A case you have a big machine, right? If you think that there is no failure, okay, you are not getting very frequent failure, then in that case plan A is better because you don't need to split the task. Okay, you can split the task in the same machine rather than splitting the task and sending the chunk of the task to individual machines. So in that context, it is better. But rather than these advantages, you can see other advantages also, like confidentiality of data is preserved in the case of private cloud, right? Because it is not accessible to everyone. So obviously, confidentiality is maintained. Similarly, if you talk about the virtual machines, we discussed more details related to virtual machine in the previous lecture. I told you, on top of particular physical machine, you can go for multiple virtual machines. And a VM can migrate from one physical machine to another physical machine without making it shut down or switch off. We need not off a particular machine, then we can switch, right? We can move a particular VM from on top of one physical machine to another physical machine. So obviously VMs are cheaper than the actual machine. Actual machines are costly, but VMs are less costly because it is a part of the physical machine. And in fact, virtual machines are faster to provision than the actual machines. So whatever you have seen, like T2 instances, that MT4 instances or MT12 instances, these all are nothing but our virtual machines. Similarly, you can compare the economics of different services. Like economics of IaaS you have seen. You can also compare economics of IaaS with the platform as a service. Platform service is providing a runtime environment. So if you take an example, like consider a web application that needs to be available 24/7. Okay, you have a web application, you want to make it available round the clock. But where the transaction volume is unpredictable and can vary rapidly. You do not know about how many transactions are going to happen. That you are not sure, and you want a web application need to be available 24/7. So if you are going for IaaS cloud, if you are using the IaaS cloud, a minimal number of servers would need to be provisioned at all times to ensure availability. So if you want to available 24/7, some server you can set up, some threshold you can set up 5 server, 10 server, 15 server, and that will be available in 24/7, which ensures you the availability. But spike in demand, unpredictability, uncertainty, this may not be fulfilled with respect to minimal number of servers. Right? Suddenly the number of requests is increased, so the minimal number of servers may not handle it. That's why, in contrast, merely deploying the application on platform as a service cloud costs nothing, because it is depending upon the usage, the costs are going to be incurred. Okay, if you have a flexible system, today we are talking about the serverless architecture. You need not worry to specify how many servers you require. It will automatically scale based upon your demand. So in such architecture, based upon your usage, you are going to pay for the service, right? You need not worry about how many servers are required to handle this large volume of transactions or large volume of data. So the platform as a service would scale automatically to successfully handle increased requests to the web applications. So you have to look into sometimes the PaaS, the background is your infrastructure as a service, right? We have seen an example related to pizza as a service. I told you there. In that, if you go for platform as a service, IaaS would be there with you. You may think to handle SaaS, software as a service, but infrastructure should be there for your platform, otherwise it will not work. So these are the benefits related to platform as a service. No need for the user to handle scaling, load balancing of requests among the virtual machines. Like previous example, I told you, you have subscribed to minimum number of resources, but suddenly the request increases. So what you have to do? You have to scale. That scaling will be done by your platform as a service, and load balancing help you to uh, divide the loads among multiple virtual machines. The requests are properly managed so that none of the VMs or the servers are overloaded. Similarly, PS clouds also provide web-based integrated development environment for development and deployment of application on the PS cloud. Okay, if you want to develop any environment or if you want to integrate, sometimes you want to not to show your underlying technology. In that case, platform as a service is suitable. Easier to migrate code from development environment to the actual environment. Like you are using some environment in your system. Okay, you have done the programming for a particular application. You want to host that one, okay, or you want to deploy that in the cloud. Okay, so that you can do, migrating from your own environment to actual environment. That can be done by the help of PaaS. So hence the developer can directly write the application on the cloud. The developers do not have to buy the separate license for ID. There is ID procurement and software procurement is also not required. Only you have to focus on the logic rather than this maintenance, management, administration, and other type of cost. That is absolutely not required. Now coming to software as a service benefit. In software as a service, users subscribe to the web services, web applications instead of buying and licensing software instances. So basically, we follow one model in software as a service that is called as PubSub model. All of you have used YouTube. All of you are using WhatsApp, or all of you are using Telegram. These all are based on PubSub model. PUB stands for publisher, SUB stands for subscriber. So there are different channels, there are different groups we have. If you are interested to get the messages related to a particular group or a particular channel, you have to simply subscribe it. Okay, you have to simply subscribe it. And whenever there is a new notification or new video or new message is released, you will get a notification. Right? So we simply use a service. We simply use the software without looking into their license, without buying their license also. Like one of the example, that is Google Documents, that we can be used free. No need to purchase any software for Google Documents like Microsoft Word. We can also do PPT presentations without purchasing Microsoft PowerPoint. Similarly, enterprises can use web-based software as a service content relationship management, okay, CRM, or consumer relationship management also. Instead of buying servers, installing the software associated databases on them, because everything is managed in the cloud. Similarly, you can see here benefits as perceived by the IT industry. So there is a question here. They are looking into different factors and they want to know which factor is more important. That's why the question is related to rate the benefits commonly scribed to the cloud or on-demand model. Cloud is an on-demand model, right? At any point of time, you can access it. So they have given some benefits. So based upon that, you have to rate it. They conducted some kind of survey. In fact, this survey is done by International Data Corporation, IDC. So they considered some of the questions related to easy and fast to deploy. So they asked many developers, many companies to rate it by considering 1 is not important, 5 is very important. So out of all the questions they said, they found that easy and fast to deploy got highest rating. Because as a developer, your job is to focus on the logic part, how to go for a good logic, how to cover all types of, you can say, path, all types of, you can say, different ways to solve a particular problem. But your objective is not to how to deploy it. Your objective is not to look into whether your environment is compatible with cloud environment or not. That's why we need easy and fast deployment. It got highest percent. Similarly, pay only for what you use. That is pay for usage model is the next one. Less in-house IT staff or cost. You know, IT staff cost is more. Right? If you have your own infrastructure, you have to pay for it. If you are maintaining in-house servers, then there should be some people to manage it. Some engineers or staff should be recruited for that particular purpose. That also comes in the third rank. Low monthly payment. Similarly, offers the latest functionality, encourage more standard IT, sharing systems and information simpler. It's the way of the future. So less people focus on say that cloud is the way to the future. Maybe other technologies may dominate this one, right? So in the rating, you can see the highest one we got in the easy and fast to deploy, and less in the case of the way. It's a way to the future. Okay. So now these are some of the factors driving investment in the cloud. I told you there are 3 types of enterprises or companies: large companies, medium companies, small companies. So some of the factors considered for all these 3 companies, like reduced cost of infrastructure, flexibility, scalability, business continuity and disaster recovery, and speed of implementations. So for all type of company, we compare these factors. Okay, you can see obviously most of the cases you can see if you go for reduced cost for infrastructure or you go for speed of implementation, you are getting highest one in the case of large companies. Okay, but if you go for small companies, they needs more flexibility. Okay, because there may be a kind of startup which is new into the market, but suddenly people are interested in the product of that particular startup company. Similarly, scalability also is, you can see more in the case of small company in comparison to other company. Like if you see business continuity and disaster recovery, medium enterprises are having more percentage, right? And these are the factors driving investment in the cloud. Like previously we have seen some of the factors. Here they consider only 3 factors. One is called as reduced cost of infrastructure, which is 67%, flexibility is 54%, and scalability is 41%. So you can say these are the 3 driving factors for the investment in the cloud. Now we'll see what is the purpose of cloud in various organizations. You know that many people are adopting the cloud because you can back up the data easily, or you can get the infrastructure without buying it, because in the right you can get these services. You can run CRM, content relationship management or customer relationship management. You can go for enterprise resource planning. You can go for supply chain management. That is also advantages. You can involve with multiple organizations. Your business processes may be open to all, right? You can develop and test the software. You can storing achieving as large as files are possible. You can run your business, you can run your websites. These all are the requirements for which people are interested in the cloud computing services. Some more you can find here, like some people want to analyze the data, right? Like, big data or data science purpose. People are very interested to analyze the data. The data may be a structured data, unstructured data, or maybe it is a semi-structured data. So for R&D purpose, we need to analyze the data, whether there is any missing data in the data or not, how sensitive that particular data, what are the primary factors, what is the range of each and every data. In that case also you can use different visualization techniques that is also available in the cloud. And you can meet spikes in the demand. You need not worry about the fluctuation of the demand. Processing and storing of application or other forms. Today you have you stored in one form. Tomorrow you want to change to another form. That also can be possible. You can run various data intensive batch applications. You can share information with government and regulators. Data auditing is also much more easier in the case of cloud computing. Providing consumer entertainment information and communications like YouTube and Google Photos, Facebook, Twitter, and WhatsApp. These all are providing the services. These are the main purpose of the cloud. Lastly, I can tell you the top cloud applications that are driving the cloud adoptions. Why people are looking for cloud adoption? Now you know that every company is using the Google services that is called as off-premises private cloud for mail and messaging. Archiving is another application for which people are interested in cloud. Backup, storage, security, virtual server, CRM, collaboration access enterprises, hosted private branch exchange, video conferencing. Like in COVID time, we use Google Meet, WebEx, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, lot of platforms for adopting the cloud because these applications are running in the cloud, right? So these are the major factors for which static cloud, the small enterprises to the medium enterprises, they are interested. They are looking for the solutions in the cloud. They are adopting the solutions that are available in the cloud. Okay, let us stop at this point. Next class, we'll go for another important topic that is called as cloud computing architecture.